There's your Wisconsin Wine Guy doing a Q&A video for you. I try to go through and answer all the different questions that I have on different platforms, and some of those are definitely not video worthy, but then some are. And this was one that I picked up off of YouTube, and I want to say to those who are on YouTube that, I try to answer all questions that I have personally, and sometimes I'm a little bit late, but I do answer all of my questions. Even if it's something negative, I answer, I respond, That's the business. So there was a question that I got. We're going through my messages today. This is from Omar. So Omar Contreras, shout out to you. Very, very interesting question, because in the wine world, there's so many trends that happen, but some of these trends are really not trends at all. It's just that maybe domestically, or it's just that maybe the rest of the world has finally caught on. Well, Omar submitted a question and a statement, asking if I would start reviewing natural wines because he started getting into natural wines, and as I responded to him, I thought, wow, I should shoot this video, say a little something about natural wines. Well, when I think about natural wines, we'll start here. Natural wines is something that's been around for a long time. Probably before there was a structured wine making process. So let's break natural wines back to simplicity. You never know. Think about it. Fruits grow wild in the jungles, in the forests, on the trees, on the ground, bushes, and animals go through and eat, or certain things may cause the fruit to split. But on that fruit is natural yeast. The yeast is just floating in the air. So on that fruit is natural yeast. So the yeast, if the fruit is split and there's enough sugar, that natural yeast is going to start eating. Organisms, everything's organisms, everything's eating, everything plays a role, it's the circle of life. So that natural yeast begins to consume that sugar, and slowly begins to transform the juice in that fruit that has burst on the plant, on the vine, on the tree, into alcohol. So, side note, so if you're ever hanging out in the forest or the jungle or something, you come across an angry animal, maybe that animal isn't really angry, it's probably high. It got the munchies, so animals probably get buzzed all the time on this fruit, so that's just a very simplistic way of presenting natural wine. Now, with progression, all of a sudden man started taking this process and taking fruit and crushing it and leaving it into a clay pot, and it naturally turned itself into wine because of the yeast. The modernization of winemaking kind of controlled that and extracted yeast and created certain yeast, but you can still make wine. There's a risk though involved from the yeast that is naturally that kind of nice little like film, or kind of like not the grayish film, but kind of like a dusty film on the grapes. Some of that's not dust, that's the actual organisms, the yeast that had adhered itself to the grape, that you can take a bunch of that, crush it up, put it in a container, and at the right temperature it will start the slow process of turning into wine. But beware, some yeast is bad. Yeast is a bacteria, it's an organism. Some is bad, some is good. So natural winemaking has been around for a long time. It's just now it's really catching on. I in fact had friends here in Wisconsin that were making wine, had been making wine for 15-20 years the natural way, but there was really no market for it. For natural wines at that time. Now we have a market for it, for natural wines. In fact, I want to give, this family a little bit more credit, because they were also aging their natural wines, reds and whites, but aging them in bourbon barrels. This was like back when. We're talking like 10, 15 years ago. So way ahead of the curve. So again, with natural wines, I will try to search out or seek out some of those natural wines to get a review, but there's some very good wines out there in natural wine. In fact, I find some of the wines that I did a review on a wine that was naturally made coming out of Spain. I'll give you that link, Omar. But I discovered when I drink natural wines, or just say natural wines and wines with little to no intervention, okay? Two different categories. But I find that when I drink natural wines and wines with little to no intervention, I feel great. You know, I can consume an entire bottle, wake up the next morning, and be ready to go. You know, I mean, so there's something to be said about, you know, a naturally made product, you know, or with minimal, very minimal intervention. All right. So this was not so much of answering a question, but giving a little bit more insight. And yes, Omar, and those who will find this interesting, I will be looking into the places in my area, you know, and trying to find some natural wines to present to you. And again, you know, I will post a link to this video of a wine that I did that was a naturally made wine. And for the Wisconsin wine, I do have a natural wine coming up, Pet Nat. Ooh, that will be probably in the upcoming review for Wine Wednesday. So here's your Wisconsin wine guy, giving you more information with wine. Share this with your friends. Share the channel with your friends. Yeah. Oh yeah, I got my Wisconsin T-shirt on. I'll see you next time. Ciao.